Welcome to the Ultimate Seattle Sports Show alongside Chris Egan. I'm Paul Sylvie. And Chris, we're stacked today. We don't have time for chitter chat.
We are packed. I'm excited real quickly, Paul. My dad dropped over a couple steaks last night, pulled them out of the freezer, so I'm ready to get out of here because I want to go home and have some steaks. Thank you, Dad. I love you, but I'm loving this show today. Charlie Furbush talking Mariners, Greg Bell talking Seahawks, and I'm taking your lines, my friend. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's like sitting here with Gene Anderson. She's just going to read my script. All right, let's take a look at what's on tap. Mariners saw their winning streak end at 8, and now they're on the road for 10. Former Mariner Charlie Furbush will join us for a closer look at the team. Charlie will also help us rank the top 5 Mariners commercials of all time. They've had some great ones. And we'll take a closer look at the Seahawks as they continue OTAs. Greg Bell of the News Tribune offers some insight from team headquarters. Sam Darnold, Derek Hall also on the way as well. They were pretty popular yesterday at headquarters. Derek Hall with the new contract. But first, let's start with some baseball, Chris. Mariners lose to the Mets, and then we see that 8-game winning streak come to an end, but have a good chance to build on what they've built so far over the last week with a series coming up against the Tigers.
And recapping quickly, we go to that Kansas City series. They dropped a couple tough ones there in Kansas City. Then they go to Sacramento. They sweep the A's. They come home, take on a very good Diamondbacks team. They take out the Diamondbacks. Then they take 2 out of 3 from the Mets. Back in first place. Things are trending in the right direction. Cal Raleigh begins his rehab assignment on Sunday with Everett. And if you have played, coached, or watched enough baseball like I have over the years, you know bad games are going to happen. You get unlucky once in a while. Balls are going to bounce off of bags. Broken bat base hits are going to drive in a couple of runs. It happens. I'm not concerned, Paul, with the team right now. But there is a little concern right now with George Kirby. I mean, against the Mets, he went 4 innings, gave up 9 hits and 4 earned runs. Against the D-backs, he gave up 4 runs. Against the Royals, he gave up 3 runs. And against the Padres, it was 6 runs. Total that up, that's 17 earned runs in his last 4 games. George Kirby talked about it after yesterday's game.
I don't know. I mean, just what has happened the last couple weeks. Like, I know I'm so much better and more capable of, getting these outs, getting ahead, whatever it may be. I just got to, keep my head down and keep going to work and, keep up with my mental stuff, all that, good stuff during the week and, just keep believing in my stuff and, it's going to turn around.
And it will turn around. 4 rough starts. I know some people are talking about, should we piggyback Kirby? Let's just everybody settle down right now. I mean, we saw this happen with Wu had a couple rough starts there early on, and nobody pushed the panic button. I think the thing I love about this pitching staff is when you surround yourself with other guys that know how to pitch. I mean, he's on that plane ride. They're in Detroit right now. He's talking to his buddies, Logan Gilbert, Brian Wu, Luis Castillo, Emerson Hancock. They're going to help each other. He's going to be fine. It has been 4 rough starts. He needs to do better at getting first pitch strikes, but he'll be okay.
Yeah, Kirby. One thing about Kirby is he doesn't walk a whole lot of guys. It's a rarity to see him put a guy on base for free. But they've talked about this a lot, even throughout spring training, as you just alluded to, Chris. They lean on each other, and while there's competition among pitchers, and iron sharpens iron, we say that a lot. You hear that a lot in professional sports. But these guys pick each other's brains and they help each other out. So the next time they go out on the mound, they make some changes and make the necessary adjustments. J.P. Crawford is a guy who's certainly made some adjustments. He has been red hot at the plate. Crawford, over the last 2 weeks, just getting after it. 13 for 49. It's a 265 average. But he's hitting some power there, Chris. 4 home runs, 7 RBI, 7 runs, slugging percentage, .531. I mean, we're not used to – listen, watching Crawford over the last couple of years, we've always expected him to be great at defense at shortstop. He's made some great plays defensively. And now we're seeing his bat come around, and he is just swatting the ball, and it's fun to watch.
Well, it's fun to watch. It makes his team dangerous when your leadoff hitter comes out there and does what he's been doing. Had 2 home runs in that Diamondbacks game, had another home run against the Mets. Yeah, he is hitting for power. I know there's a lot of people out there that's been talking about his fielding. Perry Hill is going to have everything situated. They're going to be just fine in the infield. We could see Paul. We possibly could see Colt Emerson moving to shortstop. That could happen on this road trip. We don't know whether they put JP over at third base. But here's one thing we do know. You need that man in your lineup right now. You need that bat. You need that leadership. I mean, that is a future future Mariners Hall of Famer we're looking at right there. You need him in the lineup, and right now he is delivering.
Yeah. I think that the interesting thing when it comes to Crawford is, again, his defense over the years has been rock solid. But when you talk about his hitting, these guys that get hot hitting, Scott Service used to say it when he ran this team. If you're hitting, you're going to be in the lineup. And if you're not hitting, you're not. But if you're hitting, it makes it very difficult for the manager to take you out. So you can talk about the competition with Emerson going in there, Crawford being in there. They're pushing each other.
Yeah.
Crawford knows the heat is on, and he's taking it on like a major leaguer. And I love what I'm seeing from him, because some guys, Chris, as you know, can fold under pressure. When you start putting a little heat on them, things change.
Yeah, and then you also look at, when that third baseman, Colt Emerson, the youngsters over there making diving plays, that kind of inspires you a little bit to play a little bit better. So it's going to be fun to talk to Charlie Furbush about that coming up in about 10 minutes' time. But it's a busy day at the Seahawks as well, Paul.
Yeah, man, let's turn our attention to the Seahawks now. They're back on the field for OTAs. The big news of the week, edge rusher Derek Hall signs a contract extension, 3 years, $42 million, $21 million guaranteed. I love that Hall's mother and sister flew in at midnight from Mississippi to be at team headquarters when Derek signed his contract. He talked about how much that meant to him, considering they got right back on a plane after he signed his deal and flew back home because his mom had to go to work. Hall talked about how much he loves playing in Seattle. He loves the organization and the respect the team showed him getting this deal done like they did. Now, Hall talked about the camaraderie among teammates, and they know him well. They also know he likes to do a lot of talking.
They know when I come in the building, I'm gonna be loud. I'm gonna talk my junk. They gonna talk back. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna shot a box 100 times a day. I may win one, I may win 50, but the conversation and talking crap still gonna be the same. So I think it's pretty cool, man. Just the camaraderie and love that we have for one another is special. And then, like I said, man, just signing that extension and walking in the meeting and walking in the locker room, it was so special. Everybody's so happy for me, and obviously vice versa for me to be able to stay here and continue to play with these guys is very special to me.
And I listened to that entire interview, and he went on to say that he's going to buy his entire family houses in a compound back home. So, hey, one of my brother or sisters watching, I'd love it for one of you guys to buy me a house as well, too.
Yeah, but you want to live right next door to him?
Yeah, that's a good.
It's a compound, but you want to be in the back, don't you?
I do. I don't want mom and dad coming in every morning.
That's right. Hall is known for his passion for heavy-duty pickup trucks as well. He's quite a character. He's got a passion for automotive custom builds. He's very talented when it comes to mechanics. He was asked if he has any purchases in mind with his new contract. He said no. He has plenty of trucks right now, but he does admit he has his eye on a boat, Chris.
A boat and a compound for his family. Not bad. Sam Darnold talked to the media for the first time this spring. Yeah, he got married in the offseason, so things have changed a bit in his personal life. His good friend, Bills quarterback Josh Allen, was in Sam's wedding party. While the offseason may have gone quickly for Darnold and his teammates, Sam talked about the urgency of getting in as much work as possible before they break for the summer.
We got to just continue to get these reps because they're so valuable. With only having a few practices left in OTAs, and then the few practices. Really, when you look at it on a calendar, how few practices you get in training camp and how many reps you get. Like, you really got to value these reps, and so I think our guys really understand that, which is why it's so important to go full speed when we can.
What a luxury the Seattle Seahawks have, with Sam Darnold. There's so many teams that are struggling. It's because of the quarterback position. You have a veteran like this, Paul. And we're going to ask Greg Bell about this. He's coming up next, but about having to deal with another offensive coordinator doesn't seem to be an issue at all for Sam Darnold to have this transition. It seems like that's his career. New season, new offensive coordinator.
Yeah, he's real comfortable with that, and the fact that Brian Fleury spent some time with Sam when he was with the 49ers, he knows a little bit there, but he admits, they only kind of pass in the hallway down there because Brian was coaching the tight ends with the 49ers, but still very familiar with the system. And listen, it's like Cal Raleigh hitting 60 home runs last year. Can he repeat? Highly unlikely, especially we've seen the injuries he's had this year. Can Sam Darnold repeat the kind of finish he had last year with the Seahawks team, the tremendous run they had? Listen, everybody, they got a target on their backs. Everybody's gunning for the Seahawks. I don't care. You can say whatever you want about the Rams and the money they spent, the deals they've made. I've already made my point. I love the way they've pushed in all their chips and said, let's just go after it.
Yeah.
Well, the Seahawks did that last year, and they went after it, and they won it. So I'm not concerned at all about this team. Not concerned about Sam duplicating what he he did last year because, like Mike McDonald says, it's not about defending the championship. It's about running it forward and trying to take it to another level. So
the only concern for me, I'm watching yesterday's practice, is Jalen Milroe looks really good. And I'm like, he's probably not going to play at all.
Yeah.
And that's not concerning. It's positive for the future, but will they try to sneak him into some offensive packages like they tried last year? Sometimes they didn't work, but tell you what, the future's bright, man.
Yeah.
But we're good right now with Sam Darnold.
Yeah, and keep in mind that Milroe could use the seasoning that Jordan Love got with the Packers. I mean, Love sat behind Aaron Rodgers for several years before he even got a shot.
Yeah.
So Milroe just has to be patient. We know the athletic ability there. We know the smarts is there with him as well. He's a cerebral quarterback, so he'll play him well in the future. Much more on the Seahawks coming up. Greg Bell, as Chris talked about, of the News Tribune, joins us with what he's seeing at OTAs, and we'll also get his take on Seahawks great Russell Wilson. Some great insight from Bell as Russell walks away from the game. Next. Welcome back to the Ultimate Seattle Sports Show. The Seahawks offseason is in full gear, which means those who cover the team are awfully busy these days, and that includes Greg Bell. When he's not writing for the News Tribune, he's doing his show on Sports Radio 93.3 KJR-FM. Greg, I know you're out there at team headquarters again today. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, you're right. It's starting, right? But it's still football in June. Thanks for having me on. I'm not as busy as you guys are.
Come on, Greg.
Chris is so busy. He needs a haircut. Look at that. He looks like he's in the Partridge Family. It's a haircut, man.
Whoa.
We haven't had a Partridge show that reference for a while.
That's a long time. That might be the first ever. All right. Let's move ahead here, Mr. Kincaid. At the headquarters this week for OTAs. Let's start with Derek Hall. Why do you think the Seahawks made his contract extension such a priority this offseason, Greg?
Well, they're selling culture, Paul, and you're around this building and inside the locker room like I am. This is what culture brings you. What Mike McDonald has established in 2 years, this is the payoff. Guys that want to be here, guys that have won a championship and realize it was a chemistry and a brotherhood in the locker room that they cite as the reason they won. And then you get a guy like Derek Hall. I asked him yesterday after practice, you know the market. You know Boye Mafe, your former teammate, got $20 million a year from the Cincinnati Bengals, who is not as good of a player in this defense as is Derek Hall. And I asked Hall, why not wait till free agency and see what your market value is, because you know what comps are out there. And he said, you know what? I want to know what I have coming to work every day. I wanted this culture. I want another chance at winning a Super Bowl, the brotherhood. They were razzing him from the first minute he stepped on the practice field yesterday, just riding him really hard. They love him. Julian Love and Devin Witherspoon were giving him a hard time. And Hall loves that. And I asked him, I said, so this is a case of culture is more important to you than money? He said, for me, absolutely. And this is a guy who's 25 years old. He's at his first chance at a second contract, his first chance at free agency, which is the reason, guys, that guys play high school football and college football and two-a-days and captain's practices and weightlifting at 6 a.m. is for the second NFL contract. And he said, you know what? Instead of a few extra dollars, I'm going to sign now, know where my future is going to be for the foreseeable, for the next 3-4 years, and stay with the team and the environment that I love. He had his mom next to him when he signed the contract yesterday here inside the building. His mother had him at 23 weeks. He was born at 2 pounds and dipped to as low as 1.5 pounds. And his doctor said that Derek Hall wouldn't live. He was on respirator, life support, and he said it was really important to him to have his mother from Gulfport, Mississippi with him when he signed the contract yesterday. And he said, from where I've come from, a few extra dollars doesn't matter. It's more than the people around me, and that's why he chose the Seahawks to stay.
And that's why we love you, Greg, as a storyteller. It's not just the X's and O's. You take us and give us the heart, and I think that also says a whole lot, Greg, about Coach McDonald, John Schneider, and the culture they're bringing, that these players, they want to be here right now.
Absolutely. Now, of course, you win a Super Bowl and you win 16 of 20 games and everything's great. Yeah. But this culture preceded those wins. And they will tell you, last year at this time, they were telling us, this is different. We had 100% participation last year in OTAs, voluntary work, voluntary mini camps. And And the same thing happened this spring. Devin Witherspoon, who's in line for the next huge contract, probably going to get paid as the highest cornerback in the league at $31 million a year plus. He was there the first day in April when Mike Macdonald told the guys, you've had a Super Bowl, go celebrate veterans, you don't need to be here at the start of this. Witherspoon was here. Sam Darnold was here. That culture is something they don't know if they can ever replicate compared to last year, but they feel like they're off to a really good start in 2026 to doing it. Those are the intangibles that the fantasy folks and people that bet don't want to hear about because they can't quantify it, but they'll tell you inside this building that's the reason they're Super Bowl champions, and they think they're off to a start of potentially repeating because of a culture here.
Okay, Greg, you mentioned Sam Darnold. Hawks lost offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak to the Raiders, now the head coach there. Seattle hires 49ers tight ends coach Brian Fleury, take over as OC. That means Darnold now working with his 7th different coordinator since 2020. Listening to Sam yesterday, you get the feeling he's used to this transition.
He is, and he'll tell you that he's taken a little bit of everything to change and mold his game. Not only the last couple of years has been a bit of full-time starter for Carolina 1 year there, and then Minnesota 1 year there, and now Seattle. But the reason I hired Brian Fleury is he is a continuation of Clint Kubiak. He's off the same Kyle Shanahan outside zone tree. They're going to run much of the same. Their offense is going to be based much of the same. But what I've seen already, guys, is they may do a lot more two-back with a fullback. Think Kyle Juszczyk in the 49ers. They used some with Robbie Hoots, who then got hurt late last season, and you used Brady Russell a little bit. But I'm seeing more two-back early in this season or this year than I saw last year. And I'm also seeing a lot of quick motion right at the snap to try to isolate players on coverage outside that the Rams and Sean McVay do. Be it with a wide receiver or a tight end, a little slip motion right before the snap. They didn't do as much of that last year under Clint Kubiak. So there's already evidence of some tweaks that Sam Darnold is learning with Brian Fleury, but no doubt this offense is still going to be predicated on the run and the Shanahan system, which is why Fleury's here succeeding Kubiak.
Hey, Greg, you talked about Devin Witherspoon, and a lot of people think he should be the highest paid corner in the NFL. How soon do you think they'll get that extension done?
Probably at or around training camp starting, Paul, or July 25th or so. Habitually, when the money's this big for franchise foundation players, the Seahawks and John Schneider do it on or around the start of training camp. Think Russell Wilson and his extensions, and Earl Thomas and Bobby Wagner. And the anomaly was Jackson Smith and Jigba getting a top-of-the-market $168 million record deal for a wide receiver way back early in the spring. And those negotiations went far easier and quickly than they thought they would. And that speaks again to the culture piece, although there was a lot of money involved. When you have this much money, $31 million a year, which Trent McDuffie makes from the trade from the Chiefs to the Rams, you get into the details of guaranteed money. When's the guaranteed money? How much is it? How much is it due at signing? How much is it against injury? What's the spread of the salary cap charges across the years of the deal? And that's why it takes longer. In the meantime, by the way, guys, Devin Witherspoon's not practicing. He's not doing scrimmaging. He's doing the very beginnings of stretching and kibitzing with the guys. But as far as any possibility of injuring, his agent has made it clear to him, don't step on the field and do anything in June when you got to sign a contract, probably in July. So I don't think it's a concern other than the details getting ironed out. He's going to be here. He's going to be probably the richest cornerback in the league. He is a favorite of Mike Macdonald. They're like brothers, very odd couple brothers, the two of them, a 38-year-old coach and a 25-year-old from Florida. They always are razzing and getting on each other. Macdonald loves Witherspoon for all he does with this defense. He'll get paid for it. It'll probably be done late July, first days of camp.
Okay, past 20 years, the three of us, all three of us together, we've done a lot of TV shows. Greg, you've written more stories than Paul and I have. All three of us have been on radio shows. Greg, you have your own radio show now. If you were to put ChatGPT, what is the name Paul Sylvie, Greg Bell, and Chris Egan have said the most over the past 2 decades, I could argue Russell Wilson may come up. Russell Wilson could come up. Greg, you worked with him very closely. Just your thoughts about him heading to the broadcast booth, his video release yesterday, which pretty much announced his retirement.
Well, it was very Russell Wilson. It was scripted. It was polished, the music and all of it. but it had a lot of truth in it to me of who Russell Wilson was for Seattle. And I know that the end was messy, and I know he orchestrated his way out, and it turned off a lot of people with how self-centered the end of it was. But make no mistake, guys, I think you and I and Paul agree, Russell Wilson is one of the best athletes to ever walk into Seattle. He's one of the best athletes to ever play for a Seattle team. And I don't just mean on the field. Unlike anyone I've covered in 27 years of doing this from the Bay Area in Seattle, Russell Wilson used his sports platform to make people around him better. I'm a little biased in this. My wife works at Children's Hospital, has worked at Children's Hospital for 25 years. She saw firsthand how Russell Wilson changed lives there. To this day, even though Russell Wilson's been gone now for 4 years, to this day, they have Blue Tuesdays inside Seattle Children's. The patients, the families, the staff there, and a spin on the Blue Fridays, of course, across the Pacific Northwest for the Seahawks. And everyone dresses up in Russell Wilson gear and Seahawks gear because Russell Wilson, from the first Tuesday he was ever in Seattle as a rookie in minicamp in 2012, after the Seahawks drafted in the third round, for that very first Tuesday, he went to Children's Hospital every Tuesday, in season, off season, when he was in town. The very first time he went to Children's Hospital, Russell Wilson walked up to the visitor's desk and he told the guard, "I'm Russell Wilson." And the guard told him, "Who are you? We never heard of you. What are you doing here?" From that Tuesday forward, he was there every Tuesday for 10 years. The impact that had on children who are on life support, who are on IVs, who are in the cancer ward, the burn units, what it gave them was hope. And the families, it gave them hope. And you could see it corny, you could call it corny, and he videoed and put on social. So what? Yeah. He was there, and he changed people. There aren't many athletes who we cover who change people. They changed the games, they changed the locker rooms, they changed the results on the field, on the court. But how many really transcend the sport to change the community around them? Russell Wilson did that. That's his legacy to me in Seattle. You're talking to the wrong guy if you want someone to criticize Russell Wilson. I think he's right on the edge of a Hall of Fame consideration because of I could say he's 1 yard away from being in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That his career on the field lines up a lot with Ken Stabler. You guys remember him from the 1970s Raiders, 1 Super Bowl appearance, 10 years with one franchise, and then petered out with the Saints afterwards, a couple years with the Saints and with the Houston Oilers. It's a little bit like Russell Wilson. I could make a strong argument that you cannot tell the history of the NFL during the last 25 years without mentioning Russell Wilson and what he did for Seattle.
Yeah, that puts a tremendous amount of perspective on all of it, Russell Wilson on and off the field. Greg, we really appreciate your insight and your opinion there. That's strong stuff. Greg Bell from the News Tribune and Sports Radio 93.3 KJR-FM. Hey, thanks for coming on, Greg. As always, it's great to hear from you.
I appreciate you guys. Go get a haircut, Chris. Thanks, man.
I will.
Up next, former Mariners pitcher Charlie Furbush will join us. Lots of pitching to talk about. Plus, Charlie was in one of the more popular Mariners commercials of all time. We'll rank the top 5 coming up.
I just got to get ahead. That's first off. I've been really bad with it the last couple weeks. That'll allow me to, get some opportunities to really go for that swing and miss once I get 2 strikes. So I think that's kind of the biggest focus right now.
Welcome back to the Ultimate Seattle Sports Show. Rough day for George Kirby on Wednesday against the Mets. He owned it, which I always love about pro athletes, just holding themselves accountable because he knows there's going to be another day. Joining us now to break down the Mariners is former Mariners reliever Charlie Furbush. Charlie, we know you're a busy man, so we appreciate you coming on the show with us today.
Oh, glad to be here. Wish I could do it in person, so hopefully next time I'll be sitting right in between you guys, and we'll be chatting back and forth.
I gotta say, Paul, look at him. I mean, it's like he's showered for the show. The hair looks on point. I mean, he's looking good.
I don't even recognize him. Hey, Charlie, you're looking good, man.
Exactly.
All right, let's start with George Kirby. He's had 4 straight rough outings. Is there anything you're seeing from him that might concern you?
No, nothing of concern. I think this is the typical, as you play 162 games and as a starter trying to get 30 starts, you may have a clunker in there. So I just look at this as just one of the games that he said it there. He didn't get ahead, which didn't allow him to set himself up for, attacking and putting hitters away. So, when you're kind of fighting against yourself, it gets a little challenging out there. So you got to really do the best you can to hone in and fire high quality strikes. So I think it was just a little bit of a challenge for Kirby, and it's nothing that I'm concerned about. He still is a really, really talented pitcher, and we've seen this time and time again where he can come out and absolutely dominate a lineup. So I'm excited to see him bounce back, because this is definitely an outing you want to bounce back from, especially with how the team's playing. So at the end of the day, he owns it like any good major league pitcher should. You take the loss personally when it's your fault, and when you do well, you give success to everyone else. So, and give praise to everyone else. So I'm still thrilled with where Kirby's at, and ultimately where the team's at.
Yeah, well, and speaking of the team and the rest of the pitching staff, Charlie, they've been rolling. Now the piggyback approach, whether you like it or not, it has worked 3 times in. Now they're going to go back to a 6-man rotation during this road trip. Is that tough for Bryce Miller and Luis Castillo? And I guess, what would you like to see the rest of the season from this starting rotation?
Yeah, it certainly is a peculiar situation I think the Mariners find themselves in this year. I don't think that they anticipated going into the season that Emerson Hancock was going to, kind of force his way into the rotation and be an all-star-ish caliber starter. And ultimately, with the injury of Bryce Miller and a little bit of down performance out of Castillo, and now Bryce Miller's back, I think trying to keep everyone healthy and ready to go. And ultimately, these guys are major league starters. So, keeping them on that starter routine as close as you can, I think was the best way to handle it. And, for what it's worth, at the end of the day, the Mariners even said it, it's just, hey, communicating these things, as a major league pitcher, you just want to know your role. You want to know what's going on, and trying to be as transparent with the player as you can be. I think the Mariners, continue to learn through this. This is the first time they've done it. So as you navigate these waters, you're trying to figure out what is the best way to handle the situation, and how do we keep everyone happy, and ultimately, how do we keep starting pitcher depth, right? Yeah. Like if anything were to happen, we want to make sure that we always have, Castillo and Miller there. And I think the way that it played out, like you said, it worked. It's one of those situations where you could argue the first time that it went out, and maybe you bring Munoz in the 9th and you don't let Castillo go. It actually works beautifully in the first one. Yeah. And then you go to the next one and it works great. So I think maybe could the Mariners be onto something? Could they find another way to keep pitchers healthy over the long run? Because that's a big part of this as well. Like, how do you keep everyone healthy? You saw what happened last year. The rotation dealt with a bunch of injuries. So how do you figure out ways to maybe give guys a break when you need it? And if this 6th man is going to be a little bit or piggyback situation is going to be a little bit uncomfortable, and maybe it's something you learn on the fly and get through it. And then certainly it can help the health of everyone. But I'm glad it's worked, because I think in a lot of ways, for a lot of people looking at the 6th man, looking at the piggyback, it could have gone south pretty quick, because we've seen it happen in other ways in other teams. So it just shows you how good the Mariners pitchers are. And in a lot of ways, the pitchers are a humongous reason why the team is where they're at right now. They have done such a good job, not to mention the starters, even the bullpen collectively have done such a good job getting the team to this point. And that's first place in June, and there's nothing to hate about that.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought up the bullpen there, because as much attention as the starting rotation gets and has gotten in recent years, that bullpen has been killing it lately. They've had some strong games. How key was it getting Matt Brash and Gabe Spire back in the mix?
And just those are guys that are tremendously vital for this bullpen and the success of it long term. And I think when you have guys like Brash and Spire that you can count on, that are essentially high-powered strike throwers, strikeout pitchers, guys are going to come in and really shut the door. I think the Mariners felt when those guys were out, you felt that, oh wow, there are some other guys that are going to have to step up in some big situations. So when you have these guys back in action and you can set them up for an easy, maybe not easy, but a smoother entry into the ninth inning to hand it to Munoz, it just feels as if the starters don't have to do as much as you think. Get to 6, we got a few guys. Obviously, Bizzardo has been another guy who's been fantastic out of the bullpen. So I think when you just look around and just hear even what Dan Wilson is saying, it is the next man up mentality. We realize that this is a journey, a roller coaster ride, and we don't know what we're going to get each night. And sometimes it's going to require certain guys to step up. But when you have your horses in the bullpen that can go out and get it done night after night, it certainly makes it feel like, okay, if we just get a couple runs across the board and the pitchers do what we expect and know that they're capable of doing on a regular basis, which they've proven to show, then, we can win a lot more games. So it's certainly a good thing to have those guys back, and excited to maybe see where they're going to take their next steep step in their career.
I'm glad you mentioned Bizzardo. He's been fun to watch for sure. I'm going to be honest, Charlie. I thought this Mariners team was going to struggle the past couple of weeks with Cal Raleigh out. He's just one of the big leaders on this team. It's been the opposite. They have rallied with him out. They've won 8 of their last 9. We're seeing Julio Rodriguez stepping up. J.P. Crawford, we showed his numbers earlier. He's stepping up. Josh Naylor, Randy Arozarena. What have you seen from this Mariners team that has kind of led to this run they've been on?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly nice to see the bats turn around, and I think there are a couple games you can look back on and say, wow, it's nice to see that it feels like the offense kind of carried the load and scored a bunch of runs, and you got a 6-run inning here or there. But it seems to me the one thing that continues to stand out, and I don't know if it's just on the backdrop of a 60 home run season from Cal, but it feels like the Mariners are the slugging Mariners. They are hitting home runs at a pretty frequent pace. They're top 10 or maybe top 5 in the league in total homers right now, and that's without Cal. So I think right now watching them hit the ball over the fence has been really fun to see, and there are, as you mentioned, a lot of guys through that lineup that are starting to heat up and do damage. So if the Mariners can continue to find the long ball, find the gaps, hit the ball hard, the exit velocity is up on a lot of guys. So it's starting to come around, and I think that's the fun thing of watching the season unfold, because as now a former player watching it and playing it during it's a little different. But when you're done, you're like, all right, well, after even 2 months of baseball, it's still hard to kind of figure out where guys are going to end up because there's so much time left. So just to see that glimpse of, oh, these guys are really starting to put good at-bats together night after night, and things start rolling. It just shows you where they're at and ultimately where they can be, because at the end of the day, you don't want to peak right now. You want to peak later in the year and into October. So this is just a good place for the Mariners to build off of.
He's like a fine wine, Paul. He's just getting better as he gets older. In fact, I believe we have a photo of Charlie when he played for LSU back in the day. If we could bring that up, I'm kind of audible. Oh, look at that right there.
See, like I said, it's hardly even recognize this guy.
No, you're right. Look at that.
Wow. I don't even know who that is, Chris. If you didn't say that was Charlie, I think that was something out of the Lost Boys.
See, that was before I even knew I could grow a beard, Unbelievable.
Oh, man. I knew he was going to bring that out. All right, Charlie, sit tight. When we return on the Ultimate Seattle Sports Show, we'll have you help us break down the top 5 Mariners commercials of all time. It's going to be fun. Stay with us.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Yes.
Inning's over, guys.
Mariners baseball, true to the blue.
Please don't do that.
Man, I have made it clear over the years, I'm an 80s rocker, man. When that commercial hit, that was my all-time favorite. I was just laughing just now like it was just yesterday. That's former Mariners pitcher Charlie Furbush and Tom Wilhelmsen in the Kyle Seager Hot Corner commercial. Man, that was a lot of fun, Chris.
Paul, that commercial was okay. It was okay. The making of the commercial, the best of all time. 2015 was the year, Paul, I had an exclusive interview with Charlie Furbush and the bartender Tom Wilhelmsen during that commercial shoot. Let's roll it.
Hot Corner!
Coming for you!
Yeah, so, it's been a couple of years since we've seen them and just can't be a better time.
Yeah, I mean, our first show was back in '71, and, I mean, they blew our minds. They blew our minds.
Blew them.
And I'm excited to get mine blown again.
Woo! Woo!
Hot Corner, baby!
Does it get any better than this?
What do you think? Does it get somebody? I need a real reporter. Does it get any better than this? Hot Corner's playing tonight, right here.
2 years ago, we had a Buffalo here.
Right.
And now you said, you know what? We're going to go to the 80s.
Yeah. Well, we're trying to do a little story about our third baseman, and we stumbled upon one of the greatest 80s.
Yes! Hot Corner Reunion Tour 2015. Here we go. You better be here. It's happening tonight. Hot Corner.
I want you to show your daughter and your wife that tonight, Charlie.
I think I'm crying right now.
Those are good times.
What do you think of that,
So
Charlie,
amazing.
man? You look at that, Charlie, it's like you're a star back then. That was awesome.
Oh.
Oh, what a night. That was the Mariners. First off, shout out to the Mariners. All the commercials they do over the years have been fantastic. So I just appreciate that I even had an opportunity to be considered. So Kevin Martinez, Greg Green, all those guys, they all did such a good job setting it all up. So I just, appreciate everything. And that special night in 2015 was so fun. And walking in, just even think before I saw you and we did that interview, Egan, it was like putting the wig on. Like I don't even know what we're getting into. This is going to be just such a fun thing. So, and obviously with Tom Wilhelmsen, he's just one of my all-time best friends, and we just had so much fun with it. And that's just so fun to see. I haven't seen that interview, that clip, in so long. So yes, I will definitely be showing that to the family tonight.
And Paul, to tell a story, the next day, Charlie had coffee with a beautiful young lady who ended up becoming his wife, Michelle. So there you go. It all started from that commercial right there.
Listen, man, of all your exclusives, Chris, that's my favorite. That's his exclusive look behind the scenes, man. That was awesome. All right, it's time to bring in producer Joel Knipp for our top five. Since we have the star of the Hot Corner commercial, we are breaking down the top 5 Mariners commercials of all time. I know we have a lot to get to, Joel, so take us to number 5.
I don't know how you top that. I mean, that's just, oh my gosh. All right, we'll start with number 5 here.
Looks pretty good to me. Hey, you tried that new seafood place downtown? Right, man. I'm trying to concentrate. Oh, man. You gotta swing at that. Told you. Put a little something extra on that one.
Yeah, that was Jamie Moyer throwing his fastball, or actually it was a changeup, was the name of that commercial. That was probably going about 20 miles per hour.
How did he do it, Charlie? Jamie Moyer, what a career with that beautiful fastball.
No, it's what a life he lived, right? I think that's where, the ability to change speeds is something that a pitcher will always rely on, and Moyer did it best. He played forever, and a guy that I heard many, many great stories about. So just a legendary Mariner and just a legendary player for being able to play so long. But yeah, being able to change speeds and pull the string and throw that changeup and just let it slowly drop in. I mean, it really is something fun to feel. I will say, being on the mound and throwing a changeup by someone and having them swing way early is like, ha, gotcha. It's become killing.
All right, Joel, take us to 4.
All right, here's number 4.
Another victim.
Griffey working on a shutout. Gets a sign from Griffey.
Don't shake me off.
Here's the wind and the pitch. Hot smash to third. Diving stop by Griffey. The throw to Griffey at first. Hit time.
I'm dead set against this human cloning thing.
Yeah, Cloning Jr. Before Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, which won the Academy Best Pitcher Award, we had Junior Everywhere at once.
Okay. I didn't have that in my top 5, but I like it.
I didn't either. To be honest with you, that's one that I haven't seen in a while, and I forgot all about it. So
I mean,
it's
Junior.
worth a nod.
It's Junior. You got to have him in there. At some point, he had some good commercials.
All right, take us to number 3.
Number 3.
Set up on the corner. That's pretty cool. Want to see his curveball? His curveball? Just a bit outside.
Ichiro working the zone. Throwing that fastball from right field, he gunned down many players in his career, and I'm sure Charlie saw it firsthand a bunch of times too.
Yeah, I was going to say, Charlie, you watched that up close and personal, didn't you?
Oh, for sure. He had an absolute rocket of an arm, and actually still does. Go down to T-Mobile Park, you might see him playing catch still, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Ichiro in his mid-70s out there still playing catch. You guys.
Do you think legitimately he could pitch in Major League Baseball?
To what success degree, I don't know, but pitching, absolutely. Yeah, he's still an absolute athlete. He's in shape. He's ready to go. I don't know how good he would be, but he clearly is still, in uniform, doing all of the things and in baseball shape, which is, takes a little while to get into. But he seemingly is he is literally the epitome of loving the game. He loves the game so much, and he's going to love it forever. And I think there are varying degrees of that, but Ichiro certainly is to me the person who loves the game the most.
All right, Joel, take us to number 2.
Here we go.
Please help me welcome the Mariners' new mascot, Lenny the Latte. Everybody loves a latte.
Did you have another nightmare? I told you, no nachos before bed.
A valuable lesson learned. No nachos before bed. Moose's nightmare is number 2.
I don't know what's worse, that commercial or the goatee. I'm going to be honest, Joel, not in my top 5.
Yeah, a lot of goatees back then for some reason. I don't know why.
And when you see these Mariners commercials though, over the years, you're just like, he can't act, he gets it, he doesn't get it. But Charlie, there's no question you leaned into your role you really have to. You want to make yourself look good as far as an actor goes in these things.
Absolutely. And after seeing what the Mariners did once I first got traded to Seattle, I was envious. I was like, well, I want to make the cut. I want to have my chance. And I'm so glad that I made the cut over the years, and that, yeah, you're right. You gotta go out there and say, I'm gonna leave it all out there, just like pitching. I'm gonna leave it all out in the field, everything out there on the field. So when I put that wig on, I'm gonna leave it all out there for hot corner.
And you did.
All right, number 1, Joel.
Here we go. Let's roll it.
I had this idea for when we take late night batting practice. Let me show you. Okay, let's see how this works. I'm ready. Cool, huh? Really cool. I like it. That's a problem.
Just a classic. I think Dan and Edgar need to do that again. If they go to the World Series this year, they should make that commercial all over again.
I agree. Joel, for me, that is also my number 1. I did like Edgar when he had the speech with the rookies. And he said, I took my gooey duck to Puyallup. The light bat, Edgar's like in 4 of my top 5, but that is my number 1, the clap on.
Yeah. I like the Felix Bernandez too. That was funny too. So that belongs in the top 5. But again, when we put these top 5s in there, sometimes it's very hard to squeeze them in. You need a top 10 or top 15 because there's so many good ones. And Charlie, I don't know if you can remember too much, but Hot Corner was my favorite. But was there one out there that you remember?
Man, there's just so many, and I think you're right. Like a top 10 or even a top 20 with an honorable mention, right? I think there's just so many to pick from, and over the years, I have come to see a lot of them. I don't think I've seen as many as you guys.
Are you trying to call us old?
No, you're more seasoned. You know what I mean?
That's good. Thank you.
No, I can't think of one that specifically comes to mind that would be top 10 or top 5 quality, right? I think even some of the ones that you showed, I hadn't seen a couple of them, and maybe you've only seen them once. But I do remember when 2012 or 13, we had Brendan Ryan as a shortstop, and they brought out a Buffalo.
Oh, yes.
And I thought that was pretty classic. You know, I was like, wow, this is a real full buffalo.
They literally brought that onto the complex. I remember that. That was amazing. Yeah, that was a good one.
Listen, man, the effort there was just strong. No matter what that commercial looked like, to do that and set it up like that was awesome. Well, Charlie, we really appreciate you playing along today and giving us some good Mariners insight as well as playing some fun here with the Ultimate Five. Thanks a lot. We're looking forward to having you on again soon.
Awesome. I appreciate it. And go Mariners. Let's go.
You got it. Up next, our final drive. Stay with us.
Obviously, we're all at the mercy of sort of this expansion and what those rules look like. I think for everybody wants to come back, and I think that's going to be the hard part, right, is figuring out what that looks like. But, I think for me personally, like, I want to be here in Seattle, and hopefully I can find my way back here is something that, is top of mind and has been back of mind for a handful of weeks as expansion rumors have come out. So, I just, we'll see what happens.
Such an important part of the
That was Hilary Knight at the end of the PWHL season. Hilary Knight and Hannah Bilka are a couple of big-name stars from the Torrent that they did not protect.
Yeah, the Torrent were allowed to protect 3 players. They protected Alex Carpenter, also a U.S. member, Team USA, Hannah Murphy, Anna Wilgren. General Manager Megan Turner spoke with the media this morning about their recent decisions on who to protect and who not to protect.
There's certain players, Hilary being one of them, that probably deserve more of an explanation, usually, just out of respect. So she's a professional, and that's how we approached it. Just the contract landscape across the board. It doesn't look the same as it did last year, so that's something we certainly took into consideration. But Hilary is a pro in all respects, and that was a very professional conversation.
So we'll see what happens there. Staying with hockey, Stanley Cup Finals. Former Everett Silvertips goalie Carter Hart is in goal for the Vegas Golden Knights, who took Game 1 in Carolina 5-4. Hart made 25 saves in that game, made a little history. It had been over 50 years since the home team blew a 2-0 lead in Game 1 of a Stanley Cup Final, but that's what happened, and that was that game. So Game 2 is set for tonight in Raleigh.
All right, NBA Finals Game 1, a thriller between the Knicks and Spurs. 2 minutes to play, all tied up. But the Knicks turned it on down the stretch. Jalen Brunson, 30 points in this game. Knicks win it 105-95. Here's Spurs coach and former O-Day star Mitch Johnson.
I felt like some of that was bad offense on our part. And then some of that was, maybe at times not being able to square the basketball up and give the proper resistance. And then the offensive rebounds crushed us, 23 second chance points. We're up 1 point, I believe 93-94, 94-95. Get them to miss. They get a rebound. Brunson hits a 3. They go on an 11-0 run. Makes it tough. Got to be able to close out possessions with rebounds when you make a miss.
All right, Game 2 will be taking place tomorrow. And finally, on our final drive, we found some pictures from Paul's wife. Paul loves the root beer floats, but more importantly, he loves the creamsicle floats. Paul was also seen on his recent trip to Paris, sitting down enjoying a Coca-Cola ice cream float. And, when it's all gone, Paul, people ask, where does Paul get all the ice cream from? Well, there I'm in. I'm always there for you, buddy. There's Paul's ice cream. So hopefully tonight has been a heck of a show. Hopefully you'll be okay. The wife will be okay with you having, a root beer float tonight, maybe a orange crushed soda float.
Listen,
I don't know.
Man, I appreciate all the production that went in there, Chris, because if I barely recognize the guy in the yellow coat because that's not his hair. I don't even know who that is. Look at that thing. I mean, it's like 20 years ago. I don't even think I had hair like that when I was 30.
It's like a mix of you and Mark Wright, a former anchor at King 5 TV.
Yeah, I got to say, man, that's a stretch for sure, but I appreciate you at least making me look younger and not older.
Well, that's Dusty Baker. That's Dusty Baker, the producer maker.
All right,
so
Dusty.
he's doing great things back there. Fun stuff. You're going to be having a root beer float. I started the show with saying I can't wait. It's show's almost over. I got a big steak waiting at home for me. Thanks to my dad. Thanks to my dad.
I love the fact that Ed went out and bought that big old cow.
He got a cow.
And you guys are spreading it out within the family.
Yeah, too much for his freezer, so he had to spread it out.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? Thank you, Dad. I can't wait, and I can't wait for the Mariners hitting the road, heading to the Motor City. Yep. You know that place well. It's going to be a fun series. Detroit, shaky team. They should win that series.
You got to be careful because they just came off a 4-game sweep of the Rays, scored 27 runs in that series. So this is not the time for the Tigers to get hot when they're about ready to host the Mariners. So they would have liked to catch them a couple of weeks ago when they were struggling, but we don't know. We don't know what team's going to show up. So it's a 10-game road trip for the Mariners, and we'll see what happens as they started off in Detroit and then head to Baltimore and take on the Nationals in D.C. You can check us out on Kong weekdays at 10 a.m. and also live streaming on the King 5 app. We'll see you tomorrow.